Thank you for joining me here this afternoon. The time is now 4 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Mountain, and you have a live look at an ongoing cluster of severe thunderstorms in eastern Colorado right now. We have a line of storms producing damaging winds going all across parts of Colorado, from Trinidad back up through Pueblo, Colorado Springs, going all the way through Denver. We just had a gust front move through, bringing some damaging winds to the metro there, and we're going to continue to see more and more of these severe thunderstorms pop off as we go later into this evening, as a brand new severe thunderstorm watch did just get issued that specifies that damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour are going to be possible this evening across portions of Kansas, Colorado, Wyoming, and Nebraska. We have an enhanced risk of severe weather out for that reason. We also can't rule out an isolated tornado or two back up into Montana, believe it or not. But yes, the new severe thunderstorm watch, again, going out for cities like North Platte, Alliance, Scottsbluff, Sydney. This includes Goodland, Kansas, Lamar, Colorado, alright? This includes a good chunk of the western plains here. We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Colorado for damaging winds up to 70 miles an hour for Blanca and La Veta, 70-mile-an-hour winds and nickel-sized hail. If you're in this warning, make sure you are moving indoors and away from windows immediately. That's a pretty dangerous situation right there, alright? Obviously, 70-mile-an-hour winds, nothing to play around with. And then again, we've also got this line of storms near Fountain, Colorado that just pushed through Colorado Springs that's also producing some damaging winds up to 70 miles an hour. Luckily, it missed the Colorado Springs metro for the most part, it looks like, but this is starting to organize even more, so I would not be surprised to see this severe thunderstorm warning get reissued for 70-mile-an-hour damaging winds once again. We're estimating on radar here wind gusts of 60 to 65 miles an hour, so it's definitely a possibility. So again, we have got ourselves a lot to discuss. In fact, right now, actually, we just had a cluster of winds move through the Pueblo metro, damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour, potentially, with this part of the line of storms here, is right now moving through the extreme southeast side of the Pueblo metro, near Blend, Salt Creek, and Lombard Village. We're seeing some damaging winds to that magnitude there. So, again, we're going to be here for a long evening. We've got an enhanced risk of severe weather, the first one we've had in a while. I guess we did have one yesterday, didn't we? Okay, fair enough. Other than yesterday, this is the first enhanced risk that we've had in a while, and it's a pretty big one, too. Again, it goes all the way from the Nebraska-South Dakota state line back into portions of Colorado and Kansas. A new severe thunderstorm warning did just get issued for the northwest side of Santa Fe, New Mexico. This also includes Los Alamos and a bunch of other cities that I'm not going to try to pronounce the town name of because I'm going to butcher it. So that brings the total up to 8 severe thunderstorm warnings currently. This is not as bad as it's going to get, though. There's going to be points in our streams today, likely, where we have 20, maybe even 30 severe thunderstorm warnings at once, because we are talking about a widespread severe weather outbreak, possibly. Now, later into this evening, we're actually going to be talking about the potential for a couple of tornadoes back into parts of Montana. It's a bit more of a conditional threat, but we do have a large 2% tornado risk going out for portions of northeastern Montana and just clipping the Montana-North Dakota state line. So, if you're in this area, look out today. This is the zone that we'd be watching for the potential of a brief tornado or two. So, again, I think that's more of a conditional threat. The main thing that we're going to be talking about today is damaging winds, but we cannot entirely rule one out. So, I'm going to go and bring up Stream Chat because we just went over a lot of information. If you have any questions about your location, feel free to leave those down below. I'll try to answer them accurately and honestly. We're also going to be watching for a more isolated severe weather threat on the east coast of Florida today. We're going to have some pop-up showers and thunderstorms that may become severe later into this evening. So let's go and zoom back in here on our line of storms in Colorado, because this is kind of the most concerning thing we have right now, in my opinion. Again, just moved through Pueblo with some damaging winds. Let me get Stream Chat up here. But yeah, it looks like we're going to be here for a pretty big, long day of severe weather coverage, so stay tuned for the ride. Later into this and enjoy. What's up, Alan, Cy, Gooseman? Good to see the usual crowd back here again today. Again, we've got ourselves a lot to cover, so we've got an enhanced risk of severe weather today, right? That's obvious. We're going over that right now. But tomorrow, we could be here for a brief stream. However, I don't think it's likely at this time. We've got the weirdest shape marginal risk you will ever see that goes from portions of Texas back into Canada, even. This goes pretty much across the entirety of the Eastern Plains. This includes portions of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, South and North Dakota. We're talking about damaging winds and some isolated large hail in that, no sort of tornado threat or anything. But Thursday does look a bit more interesting for portions of the Midwest. We're talking about parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and back up into Canada, having the potential to see damaging winds up to 70 miles an hour, large to very large hail, and maybe a couple of tornadoes as well. But again, I think that today is going to be kind of the big day here out of the next few. So, again, we're watching damaging winds right now moving through the Pueblo Metro. We're likely going to start to see some damage reports come out of that region soon. We've also got a pretty big hail core there as well. And wow, that pocket of damaging winds, again, very large there. Baxter right now, it is very gusty likely. Again, if you're in this severe thunderstorm warning, you need to get indoors as soon as possible. What's up, B-Dog? Again, just look at how these winds just tore through the southeast side of Pueblo, kind of developed. And now it's pushing northeastward again. It kind of frustrates me this is only warned for 60 mile an hour wind gusts because we're measuring consistently close to 80 here on the gusts. What's up, Mr. Storm? Again, if you're just not tuning in, we are watching the beginning of what could be a pretty massive severe weather outbreak actually unfolding across portions of Colorado and New Mexico right now. But later into this evening, we're going to be talking about this moving into parts of Kansas and Nebraska. Again, damaging winds of 80 miles per hour or higher are a possibility today, as specified from the Storm Prediction Center. We cannot rule out isolated gusts up to 80 miles per hour, which again are considered very destructive. Those are tornado force winds. Arizona's really overperforming. I wouldn't say so. There's nothing really going on in Arizona right now. There was some stuff in Arizona yesterday, but if you're talking about New Mexico, we were kind of expecting this in New Mexico. How did Gordon go straight to tropical storm to remnants? It was never actually a tropical storm. I know we were expecting it to develop into one, but it never actually did. Oh, you're talking about Gordon. Okay, sorry. I thought you were talking about PTC-8. Yeah, Gordon is not at all taking advantage of these incredibly high SSTs for whatever reason. We are expecting this to redevelop into a tropical storm again eventually, but for right now, it's just an unorganized cluster of thunderstorms there. Yeah, that was my bad. I thought you were talking about Helen, or PTC-8, not technically Helen, as we discussed. And there we go. They did go and upgrade the severe thunderstorm warning for Pueblo up to 70 mile an hour damaging winds, which was the appropriate move here. And look at this, a 73 mile an hour gust was recorded at the Pueblo airport. That is not good. So again, these are damaging, close to destructive storms. If you're in this severe thunderstorm warning, you need to get indoors and away from windows as soon as possible. This is going to go right, again, it's just to the north of Highway 50 at this point. It's going to keep pushing northeastward right towards the radar site. And eventually, if it does go far enough, it'll be going towards Carville. Again, damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour cannot be ruled out with that. We have gusts up to 73 confirmed. So, dangerous situation right now for sure. Again, I do think this is going to be a pretty big day. I was ready to watch Helen make landfall and nothing really happened. Yeah. We'll say the flooding was quite extreme. In fact, we still have some flooding in the Outer Banks. We did have what I believe was a tornado near Emerald Isle, but outside of that, nothing much happened. Again, my buddy has a beach house out there, so that was quite concerning, but... Wow. Again, a very concentrated pocket of destructive winds here north of Divine now, north of Highway 50. That doesn't look good. This is going to kick up a huge dust storm, I imagine. We're talking about gusts close to 85 miles an hour estimated by radar here. A few thousand feet into the atmosphere. Really not too far, though. Wow. So that's pretty big. We have a cyclone port now in the Texas Panhandle from the Vega High School. It's a live look from it right now. Nothing too much going on in Texas today. Again, maybe some of these severe storms in New Mexico could push into the extreme northwest part of the Texas Panhandle, but I wouldn't expect that to be for another several hours, and by then I think these storms will have weakened out a significant amount. Some of them are quite intense right now, though, in northeastern New Mexico, so we'll see. And there's a slight risk going into the Texas Panhandle, just barely. It includes Dalhart, and that's pretty much it. Then there's a marginal risk out towards Amarillo and Perryton. But yeah. We did have a storm push through Santa Fe earlier this afternoon that did some damage. It wasn't anything too intense, but looks like we have some tree limbs down. Do I think this could be a derecho? No. The reason I'm saying that is because it's not going to be like one organized line of storms. It's going to be a bunch of different lines, and then also it's not going to be able to travel the full 240 miles that a derecho has to travel to be classified as a derecho. So I don't think we really have much of a derecho chance today. Maybe like a 5 to 10% chance. So Micaiah, however you pronounce that. Again, if you're just not tuning in, we're mainly watching Colorado right now for a damaging wind threat. But later into this evening, this is going to intensify, and it's going to move further east into areas like Kansas, Nebraska. And we're talking about damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour being a possibility, and those are tornado force winds, so that would be a pretty big situation. And again, we could be talking about actual tornadoes today up in the northwestern plains. Parts of Montana and North Dakota do have a small tornado risk. This is a really rural area, though. The tornado risk also does go back into Canada. But we have about 54,000 people under the gun today for a little bit of a tornado threat. 2% chance within 25 miles of any given point. Again, this is the damaging wind risk. Again, that black circle means that we could see intense damaging winds of 75 miles an hour or higher. The red area is where we're really going to be watching for the worst of it. What's up, Sean? We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning, and that's going to be going out 4 portions of our line of storms here that's producing damaging winds of 70 to 75 miles an hour. Wait for that to come back. It's raining for you right now out there in Virginia. Yeah, we're seeing remnants of PTC 8 impacting Virginia right now, so not too surprising seeing some strong storms in North Carolina. Nothing too crazy, though. So there you go. Severe thunderstorm warning now for 70 mile an hour winds and nickel-sized hail. Again, we've had gusts up to 73 miles an hour confirmed with this line of storms. So, again, if you're in this warning, you need to get indoors. We did just get a 69 mile an hour gust recording from this part of the line as well. So, Ellicott, Peyton, Yoder, Calhan, Alta Vista, and Rush move indoors and away from windows immediately. Again, that pocket of damaging winds looks the nastiest. Luckily, it's over a really rural area, but that's not good. If that hits anything, that is going to do some damage, that's for sure. We're talking about gusts of 85 miles an hour or higher with this being a possibility. This little pocket here of the storm. You saw a white kitten at your front porch. The rain's coming down, but there's no lightning. Yeah, they're not going to be heavily electrified storms. It's probably just going to be light to moderate rainfall if you get anything today out there in Virginia. But actually, this system, by the way, could bring some snow to parts of Wyoming. It's raining harder. But yeah, this system could bring some snow to parts of Wyoming later tonight. Whenever the temps start to plummet. If we just take a look at the HRRR here, I'll go ahead and bring this up on your screen. This is pretty interesting stuff. Let's move this over to the northwestern United States. So, zoom in on Montana there. We can see that we already could be seeing some snow mixing in here with some of our rain. We may see some wet snowflakes in there. But if we just go further into the night, we can see that the snow is really going to become more defined and quite heavy at around 6 p.m. especially. We could be talking about some heavy mix-in pockets of snow mixed in there with our rain. But by like midnight and onward, like if we could see onward, you'd see a lot of snow because this would all be snow at this point. But midnight even, we're seeing mostly snow rather than rain in northwest Wyoming. If we take a look at the NAM, it's showing the same thing, but we can go further into the night. So, like, 4 a.m., I mean, look at this. There's some decent, patches of snow in there, 3, 4 a.m. in northwestern Wyoming. But, can rain and snow happen at the same time? Yeah, like wintry mix happens a lot. You're back from Virginia. You left yesterday. But yeah, this is definitely a good day to see this cyclone port get installed here. We have a live look from the Texas Panhandle. There's not a lot of cyclone ports out in this area. So there's that 72 mile an hour gust from the Pueblo airport. It's weird. This said it was a 73. So 72 or 73, whatever. Obviously, there's not going to be much of a difference, but it's interesting that it's, different. Yes, there is a thing known as thunder snow. It's a rare phenomenon, but it does happen occasionally. Again, we are talking about gusts up to 85 miles an hour with this pocket of wind here in our line of storms in Colorado. New severe thunderstorm warning just issued. 4 parts of New Mexico. I'm not live on anything else, no, just YouTube. You may have to change it from top chat to live chat. It's weird, it glitches out. So again, 60 mile an hour winds and quarter-sized hail. They're heading for Cuesta. But we do have Storm Chaser Vince Welty out there today. He's near Fort Morgan, Colorado, going to intercept this line of storms that does have a gust front on it, so the rain could, be 10 minutes. The wind happens before the rain. The rain could be there, within the next 10 minutes, if 5 minutes even, if you're in Roggen, but the rain may not be there at all. Could just get very windy. But even if the rain does come, it would be after the wind. This is a huge line of storms here. Goes across the entire state of Colorado, pretty much, so. Even diving down into New Mexico a little bit. But yeah, mainly today we're just going to be talking about damaging winds. It's going to be significant. I'll say that much. So a new severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued for La Junta, Colorado, and areas to the west of there, Rocky Ford. I'm interested to see what tag they put on this one, because this is the part of the storm that has the big pocket of winds. I guess that's a little further north, but still. This is going to be coming right up onto the radar site here, interestingly enough, near Highland Road. So there we go, 70 mile an hour wind gusts, nickel-sized hail. And again, a 72 mile an hour gust was recorded with this about 12 minutes ago. Again, this is probably close to them putting the 80 mile an hour tag on this, but the pocket of winds here is starting to die out just a little bit. Still, though, could see isolated gusts up to 80, a few thousand feet into the atmosphere. And, we're in the mountains, so everywhere is a few thousand feet into the atmosphere here. I mean, look at this, 1,500 meters. That's 4,500 feet, so. If only these storms were in Lincoln, Nebraska. You could have some storms tomorrow, actually, in Lincoln. You're in the marginal risk tomorrow. It would mainly just be wind to look out for. But we'll see. If we just go ahead and take a look at our model here. We'll take a look at the NAM. Lincoln, Nebraska today, again, you're fine. Probably just quite cloudy out. But tomorrow, we could be talking about some showers and thunderstorms in the morning time hours, but more specifically, later into the evening and the nighttime. There could be a couple of rumbles of thunder out there with a little bit of wind. Going out to have lunch with your mom tomorrow? Let's see here. See if we got any updates from the National Weather Service. We do not. They have actually mentioned that there is an increasing severe wind threat for parts of southeastern Colorado. But New Mexico is, again, predominantly just going to be a large hail threat over the next couple of hours. So it all depends on where you're at here. How high is the wind for the storm you're in? Probably not very high if you're in Virginia, because I don't know which storm you're in specifically, but I'm just going to imagine there's not really any sort of wind impact from it, because it's probably just a little shower out here, it looks like. It may be a bit gusty in general, but it's not from the storm. Non-storm related gusts. Left for a bit, what's going on? A lot of the same, but we do now know that the line of storms that move through Pueblo, Colorado is producing damaging winds close to 75 miles an hour, so got to look out for that. You're in Gainesville, Virginia. And the Storm Prediction Center has mentioned that that could strengthen even more, so again, we'll watch it. Gainesville. Yeah, you're probably not really seeing any gusts at all. Maybe like 15 mile an hour winds. What's up, Indiana? So we've got this little storm out ahead of our line here. This is popping up a little bit. It's a little blip, but it's getting stronger, so we'll watch that as this approaches Eads, Sheridan Lake, and Cheyenne Wells, as well as Kit Carson in Colorado. It's a very small cell, but if you do get it, you may get heavily rained on for a few minutes, I'll say that much. In fact, if we look at the vertically integrated liquid signatures, it looks like this thing could even be producing just a touch of hail. The wind is 7 miles an hour for you. Yeah, not that crazy. Again, we're really just going to be watching for damaging winds up to 80 miles an hour today in the plains. Hail could be a little bit of a secondary threat. Tornadoes really aren't going to be a threat at all, except for into Montana once again, so we'll see. We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning, though, that's going to be going out for parts of New Mexico, for Miera and Boyeros. Quarter-sized hail, 60 mile an hour winds. If you're in that area, make sure you're moving indoors immediately. A lot of lightning with that as well, it looks like, so we'll see what that does. Probably not going to do too much, though, hopefully. I will say, we're going to have a radar problem today. This is a notoriously bad radar, the Panhandle of Nebraska. Bad radar, dead zone. New severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, for our line of storms here. That is going out for areas like Simla, I believe, Kutch, and Pumpkin Center. But the reason last year we had a tornado emergency for an EF2, that doesn't normally happen. The reason they went tornado emergency on that is because we just can't see it, so we have to assume the worst. We can't see at all what's going on whenever, the radar is 75 miles away from what's happening. So we just assumed it was really bad, but really it probably could have been just fine with a PDS or even a regular observed tornado warning. But that's just one instance of this being a horrible radar zone. We covered like a 100 mile an hour wind event out here a few months ago as well. It's up airborne. But yeah, 60 mile an hour winds here for Simla. That does not include areas like Pumpkin Center. I thought it would, but it did not. No, no, no. No, not recently. We were just talking about how bad of a radar hole this is. There was a tornado emergency here once for no reason. I mean, there was a reason, but still did not deserve one at all. Fun fact about that, Indiana. The tornado had already lifted by the time the Torii was issued, so really there wasn't anything at all. Again, there was a tornado at that storm, but it was before they issued the tornado emergency. It had already lifted. That was in May. And actually, in Jonesboro, Arkansas, there was a tornado emergency one time where there was not a tornado at all with that storm, ever. On a slight risk day. Just another example of why we need better radar holes, because that was one of the reasons they had to issue the Torii. They have to assume the worst. Another problem with that day is they were getting false spotter reports. That's a system that needs to be fixed, but, you know, what can you do? But again, the radar site thing, there's plenty of things we can do about that. Just get more radars. It's a shame. I mean, Oklahoma, southeast Oklahoma. And by the way, the Torii in Texas that you were mentioning, Indiana, that was also a result of terrible radar coverage. There's just so many times where the NWS has screwed up because there's no radars anywhere. So they've made stupid decisions like issuing tornado emergencies for no good reason. So they did go and throw out a special weather statement for that storm we mentioned in Colorado, approaching Eads, 50 to 55 mile an hour winds and nickel-sized hail. If it keeps strengthening, it will go severe, so we'll see what happens with that. Riding Highway 287 up towards Highway 96. So we'll see. And there we go. We hit the double digits. 10 severe thunderstorm warnings. Again, later today, we're going to be talking about 20, 30 severe thunderstorm warnings at once. So, right now things are actually relatively calm compared to what they're going to be like later, I imagine. You're drinking soda right now? Good for you. So anyway, again, we're just chilling right now watching this line of storms as it strengthens in southeastern Colorado. It stretches across the entire state of Colorado, but southeast Colorado is where it's really intense. Again, damaging winds up to 75 miles an hour with that. So, you need to eat a dessert right now. You're dying to eat something even though it's 4:27. Dang. Yeah, what did I eat? Oh yeah, I ate a bowl of chips just before the stream. I was like, I just ate something. What was it? Not the healthiest choice, but, you know. Welcome back, B-Dog. So we just look at the ARRR here. We can see it's going to be a couple more hours until things get really, really intense. They're moving, it's a part of a system moving across the country. It's all due to this massive trough that we have. Pop-up storms don't just get this strong. No, but again, things are really going to materialize as we go later into this evening. I think like 6, 7, 8 p.m. we're going to see the worst of it. Really interestingly enough, the ARRR isn't showing anything super crazy right over where an enhanced risk is. It's showing it being a little bit further to the south. So if the ARRR is right, maybe the enhanced risk should have been pushed further to the south for like parts of southeast Colorado, southwest Kansas, western Oklahoma Panhandle, and the northwest Texas Panhandle. But again, the enhanced risk from the SBC is a little bit further north, so we'll see. Used to watch tornado videos on YouTube. And the tornado threat in Montana will not be until later this evening, guys. We'll have some thunder showers materializing near Lewistown, moving northwestward. Interestingly enough, but that's not what we'd be watching for a tornado threat. Again, it's conditional. If these storms form, they could very well produce tornadoes, but they might not form at all. But the ARRR at this time is showing a cell near Glendive developing around 6 or 7. Looks pretty discreet. By 8, it has it becoming very strong, pushing northward. Maybe that produces a brief tornado, and then we could also see some damaging winds later into the night. Like 3 a.m., that's going to be pretty intense for areas like Plentywood, right up along the Montana-Canada border there. So, no, not really, B-Dog. What's the most upsetting thing I've seen with the weather while documenting it? Like, the saddest thing? I'll tell you what, the most frustrating thing was the failure from NWS North Platte, but the saddest thing, I don't know, Barnsdall was pretty emotional. Greenfield was obviously horrible. Elkhorn. A lot of the big wedges we've covered come to mind. Hendersonville. Okay, I'm going to be really nitpicky and annoying here. Montana is not Midwestern, chat. You know what, let's do a poll. Let's do a poll. Is Montana Midwestern? My vote is no. I think the plains are Midwestern, sure, but once you get to the Rockies, no, in my opinion. So let's see. What do you guys think? Everybody's saying yes, wow. Oh, no. Everybody's saying no, okay. Your friends are born in Kansas, then they get the halfway Midwest card because they were born in the Midwest, but then they left us. Why'd they leave us? I mean, if it was for like a job opportunity or like you were living with your parents and then they moved, obviously there's nothing you can do about that. But come on, why would you leave the Midwest? There's so much fun out here. There's corn. Severe thunderstorm warning now. For eastern Colorado, Elbert, and Lincoln counties, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Very rural area. Pumpkin Center, Carville, Kutch. We've covered this area a lot on this channel. Now, I don't think Montana's at all Midwestern. But yes, Kansas is Midwestern, I think. Mainly just because if you don't call Kansas Midwestern, what other region is it? You know, it can't be Southern. There's no way. It can't be part of the Rockies. The Rockies don't go into Kansas. So we kind of have to claim it. And it is pretty Midwestern in eastern Kansas, near like Kansas City, but corn emergency. We moved everywhere in the Midwest states. Listen, I consider myself a Midwest expert. Yeah, you can call it the Great Plains, but in my mind, the Great Plains are Midwest. That's like as Midwest as not Midwest as you get, but that's pretty darn Midwest. I think the most Midwestern states, you're going to call me crazy, but the most Midwestern part of the country would be eastern Nebraska, not western Nebraska. They are Midwestern out here, but not very. They're just barely hanging on in the panhandle to what I would consider Midwestern. The most Midwestern region is eastern Nebraska back into western Iowa. This is corn and Runza and everything Midwestern that you could possibly imagine. Tornadoes. I mean, in this area, you've got Greenfield, Winterset, Minden, Harlem. You've got so many historic tornadoes. It's crazy. No, D.C. is not the Deep South. Get out of here. Washington, D.C. will never be Southern. That doesn't even make sense to me. Like, I don't get it, but like, geographically or just culture-wise, it's not Deep South at all. Not at all. But at the same time, it's not like it's part of the Northeast either. Again, Maryland's one of those weird states, like Kansas, where nobody wants it, so somebody has to claim it, though. Kentucky's southern as can be. If you've ever been to Kentucky, you would know. I will say parts of Kentucky feel quite Midwestern-y, like this corridor in particular, right along the Ohio River in western Kentucky. Push it all the way through Kentucky. This feels pretty Midwestern-y until you get to, like, Appalachia. But outside of that, no. Yeah, Kentucky's southern. Kentucky and Tennessee are quite southern. Culturally, Kentucky and Tennessee, some of the most southern states in my opinion. Geographically, obviously, it's Florida, but oh, you live in Kentucky? My bad. I didn't mean to offend you. But yeah, most people are saying no, Montana's not Midwestern. Here's the Midwest, to me at least. If we were going so specific, like, not just limited to states, but geographically, here's what I'm going to circle. I'll circle what I think is the Midwest, and then I'll explain it all. So, do something like this. Like through here. And then up into this region. Then right through here. There we go. That's the Midwest. Here's why. This corridor of southern Illinois, this feels southern to me. If you've ever been down here, you'll know. Same thing with Evansville, Indiana. It almost feels southern to me. I don't know why, but it does. A little bit of Pennsylvania's Midwestern, in my opinion. Right along the Ohio River again in Kentucky's Midwestern. The reason I cut out northern Michigan in northern Minnesota is because at that point, I just consider that Canada. I know that's not at all correct, but that's just Canada at that point, okay? Yeah, you're not part of the Midwest. I'm sorry, but you're not, if you're in that corridor. The Plains, half of the Plains is as Midwest as can be. Again, we talked about this being the most Midwestern region, but once you get into, like, the Western Plains, not at all Midwestern, in my opinion. Include a little bit of Oklahoma. Maybe I should have gone a little bit further south. This part of Oklahoma feels very Midwestern-y to me. Really, all of northern Oklahoma. They got a lot of corn. Northwest Arkansas, you could say the same. But That's the Midwest to me, so. Again, hate me if you'd like, but just from doing weather, I know a lot of the region's geographical looks. Geography stream. I travel a little bit. I don't travel all the time, but let's see. What's every state I've been to? Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania. What? I just had a brain fart. Michigan, Wisconsin, Missouri. I've definitely been to Iowa, but I just can't remember when. I have had to have been, though. Going to D.C. on the 9th. Nice. I don't know if I've ever been to Minnesota. We'll have to put a question mark on that one. I don't think I have. I haven't been that far out west. Really haven't traveled too much. Yeah, I love Kentucky. It's so chill, and like, again, this part of Kentucky, I know I keep simping over it, but this is like, that is the coolest part of the country to me. That's gonna sound wild, but it is. Actually, the Tennessee mountains are pretty good. But anyway. Smells like dog food. Should go to the Space Rocket and Museum in Huntsville. I've heard about that. I've heard it's really cool. You don't live in that part of Kentucky? All of Kentucky's pretty cool. Kentucky's got a lot of different, like, geographical regions. Like, you've got Appalachia and this corridor, and then you've got, like, the populated part of Kentucky, urban Kentucky. And then you've got Cornland, as I like to call it. No, I was gonna make a joke about your name, about you living in Indiana, but that would not be funny. I live in the Midwest. I do think Southwest Indiana's cool, yes. Obviously, I live in this, I don't live in Indiana, but obviously I live in this geographical region. I got a lot of family in this region. It's so nice weather-wise, and it's just cool to drive around through. It's so rural, it's fun. But if you want a taste of the metros, you got Bloomington, Indiana. You got Evansville. You've got Mattoon, Charleston. Got Olney. It's so fun. You got Terre Haute. How can I forget Terre Haute? Midwest is crazy in your area. See, whenever I think of the Midwest, I don't think crazy. I think calm and chill. I do live in Illinois. But yeah, Southeast Illinois, Southwest Indiana, Northwest Kentucky, one of the coolest, most chill places on the planet, in my opinion. And obviously I'm biased, but still. Just sit around and watch the corn grow, exactly. There's no cornfields that I can actually see from my house because I live in town, but the altitude change, dude, my ears fill up and they don't pop whenever I drive through mountains. So whenever we drive through like Tennessee, oh, it is terrible. It's just awful. It's fun, but my ears, it's not fun for my ears. Actually, you wouldn't think it, but this area is pretty mountainous as well. Live geography stream. Yeah, see, this is what I like to call the severe weather zone of the Midwest. And you would think I would call Kansas the severe weather zone of the Midwest, but it's really southwest Iowa. It really is. Yeah, just remember though, Kevin, the NAM is also what brought you the wonderful westward moving Midwest derecho. So, new severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-an-hour winds, penny-sized hail, El Paso County, east of Colorado Springs. There for part of our line. But again, tomorrow we're going to be watching the Midwest for severe weather once again. And then Thursday, we'll be watching the Midwest for the severe weather once again. And Friday, we could actually see some severe weather in the upper Midwest, but was the biggest day for tornadoes all year, April 27th. No, you would think April 26th, but I don't think Evan Freiberger was live today. You would think it would be April 26th, but the night of April 27th was pretty wild as well. May 25th, now that was a big one. May 23rd through 26th was pretty big. May 19th. There's just so many to count, dude. No, but like April 27th, we had an EF4. We had several EF3s. I mean, this really is kind of an opinion-based question. It depends on what you would what factors you look for in the craziest tornado days. Did I say Kevin Freiberger? I meant Evan Freiberger. 2024. Obviously 2011, but that's... Shut up. No. That's going down in the famous Davis weather quote book. Kevin Freiberger. The son of Evan Freiberger. Yeah, but outside of that, I can't say not much happened, because a lot did happen on April 26th. We had the Lincoln one, Waverly, we had, obviously, Minden. But, I don't know. You saw Evan before at Walmart, is that true? That's wild if you're being serious. By the way, everybody, make sure to like the stream. We can easily get this stream to 15 likes. Let's go. Make sure to vote in the poll. Is Montana Midwestern? I can't speak. Yeah, I thought he lived in Alabama and in Huntsville, but, ooh, May 6th was... See, May 6th was big, but it was only because Barnsdall. Outside of Barnsdall, not much happened on May 6th, if we're being honest. Yeah, the Arkansas one was big. Literally and figuratively. It was big. Eating a bowl of ice cream. Nice. If you're just now tuning in, make sure to like the stream. Vote in the poll. Do you think Montana is Midwestern? Let's turn the lights on. The lighting's pretty terrible in here right now. Yeah, May 6th. What people don't understand about May 6th, everybody thinks it was some major devastating day, which it was. It was. But it could have been 100 times worse with the setup we had. That literally could have been almost as crazy as, like, it could have been one of the most historic tornado outbreaks, but we're lucky that it wasn't. What was the most insane day for tornadoes in the summer? There were a few days in June that were pretty wild. I can't remember any of the exact dates. I think we had the Midland Odessa EF3 in June. Or was that May? I don't even remember. I think it was June, though. July 15th was decently large, but obviously that was mainly for damaging winds, as we had a huge derecho. The Dakotas PDS event that we had, that was pretty big. That was in, like, late August. You taste severe weather? That's crazy. Yeah, Chicago got hit pretty hard. None of the Chicago tornadoes were insanely strong, though. We did have that tornado in Iowa. That was pretty big. Oh, what day was the Rome tornado in New York? The high-end EF2. We had several others that day that were strong as well. Oh, yeah, Beryl brought a ton. With the Mount Vernon EF3. Also, Debbie brought an EF3. Several EF2s with those as well. Yeah, it really was, Kevin. July 10th. Was that the day of Rome? Francine, again, really didn't bring any major tornado outbreak. Once a Midwesterner, always a Midwesterner. I don't know, once you leave the Midwest, unless you didn't, like, have a choice, obviously, then that's rough. Or if it was for, like, a job opportunity, that's rough. But if you voluntarily leave the Midwest because you want to live somewhere else and you don't like the Midwest, you're only half a Midwesterner at that point. I'm sorry. It's not to say you're, like, a bad person, obviously. It's just, we take away half of your Midwest badge. You don't want to struggle through tornadoes and corn with the rest of us, then I don't know, man. April 2nd, that was decently big. Most under talked about tornado of the year. Well, the Arkansas one comes to mind. Also, Wapakoneta, Ohio, Winchester, Indiana. Just because there's been crazier days since then. The Odessa EF3, like I mentioned earlier. Those are some of the big ones. Do some polls. I don't know, I don't know if we're gonna do any, yeah, I just got the alert on Discord that he posted. I don't know if we're going to do any polls, because I think we're going to wrap things up here soon. New severe thunderstorm warning for La Junta and Los Animas, Colorado. Alta Vista's radar was the craziest thing. The actual strength, I mean, it was strong, but it wasn't as bad as you would think, based on looking at the radar. That looks like an EF4 or an EF5 tornado, it really did. On the reflectivity, anyway. It looked like El Reno, kind of. I'll tell you what, another under talked about tornado. Hennigar, Alabama. There's also a big one near Huntsville, but Hennigar especially, the high-end EF3. Don't worry, I will be back later this evening, but I've got stuff to do, so, you know. Might as well get it done now while things are less active. And then later we'll come back. Again, it's almost looking like this event's going to be a little bit further to the south than we were originally thinking. If the HRRR is correct. What is the NAM saying? So the NAM likes this, the idea of this being further to the north, like the SPC does. But obviously that's a more outdated run than the HRRR's newest run. The HRRR is saying this could be a little bit further south than we originally thought. The new run here, it looks like it's going to push it a little bit further north again, but still. Looks like the northern part of our enhancers may not see much. So, a couple of new severe warnings. Sam, you joined at such a bad time. We're just about to hop off. Before we go, new severe thunderstorm warning for Kim and Branson, 70-mile-an-hour winds. And then also, new severe thunderstorm warning in the Texas Panhandle, quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. That includes parts of Highway 54, but no actual population centers. Nope, I don't think so, Alan. Lamartown, bro. Get out of here. Alright, everybody, we're gonna off the stream here. Don't worry, we will be back later, Sam, so you'll get another opportunity to tune in. But anyway, my favorite drink, Dr. Pepper. And with that, we're gonna sign off. Vanilla Dr. Pepper, to be specific. Or like a root beer cream soda. But anyway, again, thank you all for tuning in this live stream. I appreciate the support. Make sure to like the stream if you've not already to push this out further into the algorithm so that people can go back and watch this if they're wondering about what's going to go on today.